Deagle. I just noticed that.
No, only the willies, I think.
Maybe if he didn't use those fanats, he would have done a little bit better.
Yeah, ruses are a large part of the game ruse.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of overusage of nets, and it shows also the power of, like, pushkas are expensive. Those artillery pieces that Hopper was using, they're
$40.
$40 a pop, and they die quite easily, especially to air units. We didn't see any air units in this match incidentally, which is often quite rare. Um, but they've got the range and they've got the damage, so they're strong, but you definitely pay for them. And this map they really paid off because he wasn't Deagle wasn't being on it with the camera nets. He was letting his depots get hit.
One thing that he could have done to mess up Hoppa, he could have, instead of using the fanats, he could have made decoy airfield and air units, and then that might have made Hoppa make more AA, or make AA period, and that could have tricked him, and he would have spent
Well,
money
Hopper
in something
already
that
had
was
the
useless.
AA base, so and you can spot decoy air units taking off, so you know they're decoys. So he could have built an airfield, but then he'd have had to invest in an airfield. And Hopper already had the AA base, so Hopper built 6 AA guns to deal with the airfield, for example, before any planes had come over. They both spent the same, so you don't really win anything. Now, of course, you can build real planes, but then he's got real AA, so.
Decoy airfield, you know, he might make a mistake and go for it and think it's real. You never know. He
Yeah,
might
but the
get
thing
paranoid
is,
and build
he's
some
already got the
AA.
base, so he's not going to build a massive amount of AA. And decoy airfield uses up a ruse, and you've got to have your base uncambered for him to actually see it. And he didn't want his base uncambered because his base would get hit by that artillery. So I don't like if he managed to pull off a decoy airfield to fool him, it would have been $60, probably $50 that Hopper built on AA. He wouldn't spend excessive amounts on AA because he can see the airfield. He knows there's no planes taking off.
That's true.
He's got a feel of the opponent's economy, so he knows how much money you're sort of floating. Um, I don't think it would have been a very effective tactic. It would be a major mistake if Hopper built 20 AA guns to counter an airfield without having seen any planes, and he wouldn't do it. Like the money you'd trick him out of for the ruse wouldn't be much, at least in my opinion. And a much better usage of the ruse would just be keeping your depots safe, keeping them safe from that artillery, because there wasn't much ground recon on them. Most of the time, it was not always, but most of the time, it was simply a case of they're not under camouflage nets.
I also think I would have stayed with the Stewart or whatever the heck it's called, not the Chaffee.
I think the final thing to point out is he went for Hopper's base with everything he had. Now, perhaps if he'd left, I don't know, 2 super versions back in his base, he'd have won the game.
Yeah, that is
Because
true. I didn't
he
even think
just
about
left
that.
himself completely unprotected, and he didn't need to. He could have left something behind, and those infantry, not many infantry came in to take the base. It wasn't a huge mob. It was just a, 50.
He could have left the
And
Chaffees.
without any ruses, they can easily be killed by not very many tanks without blitz and fanaticism. And he couldn't use blitz and fanaticism because he lost his HQ. So Deagle went for all or nothing, taking the base. But it seems to me that he was almost always going to get nothing because he left his base completely unprotected, and Hopper's only option was to go for the base. And he did, and he got it because it wasn't defended.
Which was a good option.
So I think while the attack, yeah, good idea. I think the execution, he needs to lose them.
Yeah, I honestly, I think that the game was in Deagle's hands almost.
Yeah, he didn't need all the super versions. At the end, he had 8 super versions left. Now, if he'd had fewer in the fight, then, like if he'd had 2 fewer in the fight, then he'd have still won the fight. And maybe he'd have 4 super versions left. Maybe he'd have lost 2 more super versions, but he would have saved his base. It's my opinion, anyway. I mean, I think Hoppa did very well to keep on the depots and keep those super versions at bay with the tank destroyers. It's a tough matchup against USA. It's always a tough matchup against USA, whoever you are. And he did well to win it.
A unique point is that he actually got more kills from his arty than he did from his AT.
He did indeed.
Or
Well,
his
that's
infantry.
because he killed six or seven depots during the whole match with his artillery.
Yeah.
He was just
Yeah.
constantly doing it. Killed a few AT guns,
Yeah.
killed a few willies, but he just kept hitting the depots. And then $40 a pop, and you know, it was unnecessary casualties on Deagle's part. He could have avoided it had he used his,
Yeah, if you look at
routers
the
more wisely, in my opinion.
losses stats, Deagle lost 483 points through buildings, and that's close to half of his points were lost by buildings being destroyed.
Yeah, well, I mean, he did lose all his HQ buildings at the end, so that's quite a few buildings being destroyed.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, but it was a good match overall. Hopper went on to win the tournament, just to give a bit more background. He was unbeaten. He played 4 games and was unbeaten in 5, because one of them was his opponent had to forfeit because he was late. And Deagle came second. With 4 points, I think. His only loss being against Hopper.
By the way, I guess this coming Sunday it'll be the same setup Swiss, but 2v2, right?
That's the current plan. I can't say for certain what it will be, and what's more, this coming Sunday might be in the past by the time you view this video.
Well, it will be. If you do hear about this before the actual tournament happens, you're guaranteed 5 matches, but it's on a time set, so it won't be all day. It'll probably be maybe 3 hours or something like that.
Yeah, and if you want to download this replay for yourself, maybe have a look in greater detail, I'll put a link in the description on YouTube for you.
Well, I have nothing left to say.
No, I don't think I have. Yeah.
Well, bye bye.
Yep, bye.
Bye.